Today I was watching
I don't
you.
eat much in the morning. I don't.
Good morning. It's Thursday, November 29th. Anybody agree with me?
Yes.
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 You have no idea, just agreeing.
No, I did a silent court date today.
Okay. So it's in Parshas Vayishlach. So yesterday we spoke about a whole bunch of numbers. We're going to use some of those numbers today, so I may review a drop of it. See, I made myself some notes. Usually I don't have notes, but I made myself notes because I didn't have to go for coffee today because Benny is once again sponsoring the breakfast and he's got all kinds of stuff, so I may as well write down some things. Anyway, once again, Zeicher Nishmas, Benny's mother, Iran Bas, mashallah, she should have, the neshama should have an aliyah, and my father, the father is Yaakov ben Ezra, who passed away here in Atlantic City. So if we learn in the same city that his neshama left him, it's a tremendous chus for him. And we're going to have a nice breakfast. It seems like every time we get here, we have another catered meal by Mr. Cohen. You know, tonight, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to be in New York, but I'm sure my wife will have something for me.
He told me we could go together.
Anyway, but I heard you tell your wife no Chinese tonight. Okay, so there's a few questions we can ask over here. You know, yesterday Rabbi Ever spoke about this. Rivka predicted when Yaakov was going to fight with his brother, he says, "Why should I lose both of you in the same day?" She said that. She was prophetic. And actually, as everybody knows the story, they were burying Yaakov, and Esav was there, and through a miscommunication of some sort, his head was chopped off, and his head rolled into the cave of our forefathers. So the question is,
I'm sorry to interrupt you. She said, "I'm going to bury you both of in the same time."
she says, "Why should I lose both of you in the same day?"
But Yaakov died much 50 days earlier.
All right, but still, so it didn't.
So maybe it's meant by the barrier.
The burial. You know, when you lose them, when you bury them, you put them into the ground, you've lost them forever, you know.
I got you.
You know, I've been in a few situations where I was a shomer. I was a watching over a corpse until the burial. So, you know, we try to bury a person right away, but sometimes a few hours, maybe overnight. So I was in that situation where I had to watch. I did Benny's father. I did my own mother. May she rest in peace. I did my my late brother-in-law. And you know, he wasn't alive. He was laying there. And I remember I was just with him for a bar mitzvah. I spent 4 or 5 hours sitting next to him at bar mitzvah. I'll talk about that. It was the most amazing evening of my life. One of the most amazing evenings. But my late brother-in-law, who I spent 5 out of his last 6 hours in his life, I spent with him at a bar mitzvah. And then afterwards, he went up to his room, was in a hotel, and he died. And he told me certain things that evening, which almost like he knew he was going to die. But it's for another time. But the point is, I had just spent with him all those hours, and then afterwards, an hour later, I'm sitting in a room with him, and he's on a table, laid out, and he's dead. And I was telling him, I was saying, "Lenny, come on, please, don't make yourself." This is what I was actually saying. I said, "Lenny, don't make yourself silly. The joke's over, and get up and let's go," because I just couldn't believe, that he was gone. So why am I saying this? Because until you put it into the ground, you don't want to believe it. You say a miracle is going to happen. I kept looking if he's breathing. I kept looking if he's moving. And he should have been covered up. I don't remember now why we didn't cover him up at the time. I think we were still waiting for some doctor to come in. Anyway, so she predicted that they both would be gone in the same day. Yaakov and Esav, two brothers. She predicted when she thought there was going to be a major altercation between them. So the question is, though, why did he merit? We know why he didn't deserve to be buried in there completely, because he was not a good man. But why did his head merit to roll into that grave. And at the same time, I was saying yesterday that Yaakov bowed to him 7 times. Like, what was so special about him, especially 7, which is a very, very, for the lack of a better word, a very Jewish number. 7 is nature. 8 is above nature. And we spoke about that. So let's look at, I made some charts over here. All these are rated G. So let's look at Yitzchak's name. If you follow that chart and you look at Yitzchak's name, and I circled the value of the letters on top of his name, is 208. You see how? The Yud is 10, the Tzadi is 90, the Chet is 8, it's 208. So that, as I said yesterday, is God's name 26 times 8. Now we know how God's name is 26, because God's name is spelled with a Yud and a Hey and a Vav and then another Hey, so the total of that is 26. So that is the best number you can have. Like anything that's 26 has got to be the best. And Yitzchak, who was in certain ways the holiest of all the 3 forefathers. Why was he the holiest? First of all, he never left Israel, so he was the holiest. He was about to be sacrificed on the altar.
2 and 6 is 8 too. He was at 26.
Very good. 2 and 6 is 8, and the number 26 is so holy that even in English, if you spell God G-O-D, it's 26.
Really?
Yeah, G is 7, O is 15, and D is 4, which is, if you go numerically, is also 26. And in another religion too, but I don't want to bring it up right now. So Yitzchak is 26. Now, let's look at Yaakov's name. Yaakov's name.
Okay, 6, 7, 7, 1 less.
It's 1 less. Okay. So Yitzchak gave over his blessings to Yaakov, but he shortchanged him. Yaakov is only 7. What happened to the other 26? So here, let's look at Esav's name. Esav, how much is Esav? Can anybody figure it out?
370.
It's 376. 376.
Wow, right.
Esav is what it was, 376. Now, we have this concept that there are actually 50 levels of kedusha, of holiness, and there's 50 levels of tameh. Tameh is to be defiled. That's why we count Sphira. We count 49 days. We in Egypt, when we were in Egypt, the Medrash says that we stayed there for 1 more second, we would have been finished. Why? Because we were already in the 49th level of defilement of tameh. And if we stayed 1 more second, we would have been 50. We wouldn't have gotten out. So what do we do when we count Sphira? We leave Egypt on Passover. We start counting 1, and then we work our way up to 49, and then the 50 is when we get the Torah. Because what we're reversing, every level of tameh becomes a level of toyer and of kedusha, and we bring it up to 50. But Esav, now we also have this concept that in everything there are 7 levels. So basically, if there are 50 levels of kedusha, of holiness, and each one is 7, so that's 350 parts of holiness, and the same 350 parts of tameh. Esav was the ultimate. He reached the 50th level of tameh. And if you multiply that by 7, you get 350. Now what did we say his name was? His name was 376. So if you look at tameh and you multiply it by 7, you get 350. You can write in the word 350 here, okay? By the question mark, you put in 350.
Okay.
Okay. So you see?
Right.
Now, so that's how it's 350. But his name is Esav, which is 376.
26.
The 26 is the difference. That's what he got. Yitzchak gave over to Yaakov seven 26s. The other 26 he gave over because he had this special schus. He honored thy father and the mother. He was very.
So he gave him
him
to redeem him from beginning to 50th.
right.
All the way down.
So that made it 376.
I see.
Beautiful.
That's really good.
Now-
Look at that. Wow.
Now, if we want to continue it, it's not really the subject, but
I'm sorry, excuse me.
okay. We have a portion in the Torah where it says over here, "Good morning."
Good morning.
Certainly is.
Yes, it is. Seeing you is a good morning. In the parsha, it starts off that Yaakov sent over messengers, and then he says, "Vahili shor vachmor," and I have sojourned with Lavan and have lingered until now. I have acquired oxen and donkeys. So what does it mean, shor vachmor? Like, how is that going to help him? We asked sort of a question like this yesterday. How is that going to help him? So the answer is that shor v'chamor is referring to two attributes of Yaakov. Yaakov was, none of the forefathers had any dreams. We don't see in the Torah anybody dreaming until you get to Yaakov. Okay? Abraham never had any dreams, and Yitzchak never had any dreams, and Yaakov had dreams a couple of times. And dreaming is a level where you're actually connecting with your soul. The soul is connecting with God, and that's why when you get up in the morning, you're supposed to say Moda'ani, because your soul was returned to you. So, and dreaming is also a way of even in the mundane world. Martin Luther King says, "I have a dream." If you don't have a goal, if you don't have a dream, you're not gonna get it. So Yaakov had this dream and always dreamed to connect himself closer to God and to learn Torah and to had this fantasy of becoming what he was. That he gave over to who did he give that over to?
Yaakov?
Yaakov.
To Yosef.
Yosef was a dreamer. So that part of him gave over to dreamer. Now, when Yaakov blessed his sons, what did he? In the last portion of Vahi, he blessed Yosef, and he told him, "Bechor shoro hader lo." He gave him the blessing of an ox. So when he says over here, "Vahili shor," that I have an ox, he was talking about this is the merit that I have, that I gave over to my son Yosef, that I'm a dreamer and he's a dreamer, and we have gotten to that high level. Chamor, what's he talking about? Chamor, the donkey. Who does the Torah refer to when Yaakov gives the blessing? Yisachar. He calls him Chamor Garim. So Benny knows the pasuk. He gave him. So we have this concept in our world today where we call it Yisachar Zavulun relationship. You've never heard it, but what it means is, for example, I have it with a certain Rebbe in Israel, the Belzer Rebbe. I don't know if you ever heard of the Belzer Rebbe.
Yeah.
Where we make a partnership with someone, and it's all over the world, and especially in the yeshiva world and everywhere. We have a Yisachar Zavulun concept. That means you work, I'll support you, and we'll split the reward in this world and the next world. That's called the Yisachar Zavulun relationship. We may talk about that. You've heard of that before, Benny?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You
So
can do that?
what?
You can do that? And
Yeah,
that's what the
yeah,
reward
absolutely.
this
Absolutely.
one,
I can
of course, but
make
the
a
next
deal. For example, I used to buy kids in shul. I used to buy them sitters and chumash, and I made a deal with them. I had them actually sometimes sign a contract. Whatever you learn from here, I won't have the reward.
That's
You
not
can-
fair.
You understand? They get double the reward. They think they're not giving me half, they're getting double. By giving me half, they've not only earned reward for themselves, but they get a reward for giving me a reward.
Okay.
So they wind up, it's the only time that you can give away half and get double.
That's interesting.
So,
Interesting concept. I've never heard that.
yeah, so there is this concept of Yisachar Zvulun. Yisachar was the one that was learning, and Zvulun was a business person.
Right.
And did
Yeah,
at the ports, and he did all kinds of business.
Right.
So, what does it say about Yaakov? Yaakov was a person, Ishtam Yoshev, Yaakov sat in his tent and he was learning, and that he gave over to Yisachar. He was the child that was going to sit and learn. So that's what he tells Esav, Ahila Shor Vachmor, I have these two things. I have my son Yosef, who's going to continue my dream and strive for
But
perfection.
how does it relate to ox and donkey? Like, how does
Because
the
that's
word-
what Yaakov gave them. He gave them that
Oh,
name.
okay.
In the Torah, that's where
I
he
see.
referred to his son Yosef as an ox.
As an
And he
ox.
referred to his son Yisachar as a donkey.
But how does ox mean dream? Does it relate to the word in any way, numerically, or just?
No, I don't know.
just a-
Maybe.
just
I
a
haven't.
allusion to,
Okay.
okay.
Now,
Okay.
let's look. Now, what did we say? How much was Yaakov?
Yaakov
Yaakov
was
was
182.
182.
26 times 6.
Right.
26.
Times
Seven.
7. And he gave it over to Yosef. How much is Yosef?
26 times 6.
Okay. What happened to the other one?
26.
Did anybody see it? You notice that everyone is giving
One less.
one less, but in the case of Yitzchak, the other one went to Esav. In the case of Yaakov giving over to Yosef, what happened to the other one?
I don't know.
So I'm actually
Brian,
what?
Brian,
So Yosef was Yaakov was supposed to have 13. There was supposed to be 13 tribes.
There was?
And had there been 13 tribes, our whole history obviously would have changed. There wouldn't have
Dina.
been. No, she wasn't the 13. So that's why Yosef's tribe was split into half. Menashe and Ephraim. That's how we get to the 13. But Yosef was the most, I guess, deserving of all the tribes, and he got 6 out of the 7 from his father. The other one went to Yehuda. Yehuda got the other one. In fact, in the name Yehuda, if you look at it, it's spelled with Hashem's name. Yud, K, Vav. There's a Dalet in there, and then another K, but the name is embedded. So that 26 is embedded in Yehuda. So that's what Yaakov did. He gave 6 to Yosef, and he gave 1 to Yehuda. And as we know, that Mashiach is going to come from Mashiach ben Yosef. Okay? And I figured this out yesterday.
Why not Yehuda? Yehuda was
Well, there's actually going to be 2 Mashiachs, but one of them
King, right?
for sure is going to come from Yosef, and we call it he's going to come from Yosef. But if he's coming from Yosef, it's Mashiach ben Yosef. So when we refer to Mashiach, we sometimes just say the words ben Yosef. We're talking about the descendant of Yosef will be Mashiach, but Yosef is only 6 times 26, right?
Right.
And even his father is only 7 times 26. If you want to get to the highest level, you got to get to Yitzchak, which is
8.
208. Now, look at this. Unbelievable. Look at Ben Yosef. Ben Yosef, Ben is 52. Yosef, as we know, is 156. Together, Ben Yosef is 208.
Wow. Look at that.
So that's what Mashiach is going to be when it reaches the highest level.
Wow.
Any questions?
And it's all in
So Mashiach is going to be descended from birth.
Yeah. Well,
comes
everybody's
down the line.
descendant from Abraham.
Right.
But when you get to the highest level, Ben Yosef reaches the highest level of 6 times 26. I mean, 8
Well,
times
here's
26.
the lineage, okay? These are his children. This comes out, Joseph comes out of here, and then out of this line comes Mashiach.
Yehuda too, no?
See,
What?
This is the
What's
father,
difference,
the 2 sons.
From Yehuda.
This is his son, and then out of this
Mashiach and,
line. will
Yeah,
come-
there'll be another Mashiach descended from the other tribes. Now,
Huh?
as long as we don't have Minyan yet, I'll just
What do
give
you
you.
mean another Mashiach then?
There's 2 Mashiachs. There's Mashiach ben Yosef, Mashiach ben David.
Oh, you're referring to a different Mashiach?
No, we always refer to 2 Mashiachs.
I didn't know
Mashiach
that.
ben Yosef
I thought there's
and
only
Mashiach
one.
ben David.
I thought this one the same, no?
No.
So then,
And they have two different functions, and we're not going to get into it right now because I don't
they're
even
both
know it
coming
all.
together at the same time?
One is coming like either 40 years before the other one. I'm not exactly
I've
sure.
never heard any of this.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. Very
So David comes from the kingdom, comes from Yehuda. So that's how Yaakov divided it up. He gave 6 to Yosef,
right.
where the ultimate Mashiach will come from, and the other one went to Yehuda, where there will be a Mashiach coming from him as well. Yeah, well, you
No one's ever
didn't
said
see the movie.
No one's ever said anything about that. I always hear about the one descending, the Mashiach coming from the house of
So let me
David.
just tell you, let me get off this subject just
Okay.
for a minute. By the way, there's so many interesting things with numbers that literally you can go on forever.
It's just
For example, we spoke about yesterday about the number of 612, okay, which is, we have the concept of when you do Taryag, you add 1. Did you ever hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you take a look at the name Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, together it's 612.
What's the number 612?
612, bris. As Jews, especially the men, we have a bris. Bris is 612. But just so happens, my name Schwartz in Hebrew is 612. So anytime we do a gematria, we have this concept that we add 1 to it. It's called imakola. In other words, the word itself counts as 1. So if a certain word is 47, we count plus 1 is 48. So we always have this idea of adding 1. Some people say you add 1 for Hashem. Whatever it is, Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov is equal to, Avram is 175, Yitzchak is 180, 208, and I'm sorry, Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and Yosef. You got to add Yosef to it, because that's the connection. Till you get is 612. Yes. Now, I just want to talk, since we don't have minyan, I don't know what's going to be over here today, but
Chazan is not coming.
every 95 years he comes up with this excuse. It's like ridiculous. There is a breakfast, full breakfast.
Why do you make the announcement yesterday? You had more people here.
Yeah, I don't know where everybody.
I thought they were going to finish the whole thing. They didn't. So
This is very scary.
You must have breakfast.
We must. Okay, the Torah says this. We know the fight between Yaakov and the angel. Okay, who was the angel?
Esau.
He was the sar. What's the English word for sar?
Head.
For the
Master.
sort of like a master. Anyway,
Angel.
so the angel. It was the Satan. He was fighting with Yaakov, and even though Yaakov,
Malachim cannot be
the scorekeepers, gave a victory to Yaakov, nevertheless, Yaakov walked away limping, literally, because the sciatic nerve was moved out of place or whatever, and therefore the Torah says we cannot eat Giranasha. You heard that word before, Giranasha? Okay, now there's an interesting medrash. I sometimes speak about this medrash as the medrash Pliya, a wondrous medrash. The medrash says that when the Torah says, and therefore you should not eat. Let me read you the pasuk exactly. Al Kain, it talks about the fight, and then it says, Al Kain lo yochlu b'nei Yisrael, therefore the b'nei Yisrael should not eat es gid hanosha. How do they interpret here? The sinew on the hip socket. Now, why does it say es gid hanosha? Why shouldn't it say
that?
Right? Don't eat bread. We don't say don't. Why do you have to say that bread? You want a coffee or do you want the coffee? We don't always. What's the word S? So the word S could be looked at superfluous. There are hundreds of them, maybe thousands of them in the Torah. So the Gemara talks about that whenever there's a word S, it comes to include something. It's like it says, honor. It says, kabed es avicha ve'es amecha. Honor your father and your mother. Why doesn't it say, honor your father
And mother.
and mother? Why? There's an extra S there. So the Gemara says that somebody went through the whole Torah and figured out what does it include. What is every S? What does it include? He couldn't come up with what does it include. What else can it include? Honor their father, mother. Who else is on that level?
Maybe grandfather, grandmother.
So it says it comes to include Talmidei Chachamim, people who are very learned and teach other people, that you have to honor them exactly the way you honor your parents. So the Medrash says on this S over here, it says, therefore you should not eat the Gidan Osha. The Medrash adds, and the Zohar brings that down, not the Medrash, the Zohar brings it down, that not even on Tisha B'Av. It says not even on Tisha B'Av. So, what does it mean?
Tisha going to be a big simcha after Mashiach comes, right?
So you can say, I didn't think of it, but I think it's a phenomenal answer that you give, that maybe the Medrash means even when Mashiach is going to come, and there won't be and Tisha B'Av will be a Yontiv, and all these things that we can't do or for bad reasons will be turned around, maybe then even then you won't be able to eat the Gidan Osha. It's possible. It's an excellent shot. Like, for example, we know that we're going to be allowed to eat pork. It's going to be permissible to us. Okay? I can't wait for the pork villa salad at Bobby's.
Bobby's beer should have shrimp.
Right. So they give an answer. What does the Medrash mean over here? We have the fast of Yom Kippur, but there are 4 other fasts besides that we know about Tisha B'Av, Shiva. Well, there's some very minor ones, but initially there's 5, and one is Yom Kippur. The other 4 are Tisha B'Av, Shavasa B'Tammuz, Asara B'Teves, and Tzom Gedalia. So that's what the Medrash means. We learn it out from Es Gid, because from the word Gid, you learn out all 3 out of the 4. Why? Gid is Gimel, Yud, Dalad. Okay, so right away off the bat, it equals to 17. It's 3 and 10 cents. So there we know the Shivas B'Tam, the 17th day of Tammuz. From the Gimel, we learn now 3, which is the 3rd day of Tishrei, right after Rosh Hashanah. That's Tzom Gedalia. And Yud, we learn out the Sorah B'Teves.
Right.
And
4.
That's 4.
no, the 4 is combined with the 10 and the 3 makes it 17.
No, but which day does the 4 refer to?
No, it's just 4 and 10 is 14 and 3 is 17, which is the Shivas B'Tammuz. So from this word you get everything. Where do you get Tisha B'Av? Where's the other one? So that's why the Medrash says that S comes to include even Tisha B'Av. That's going to be another fast day, and lo and behold, look at the word S, Tisha of, the 9th day of Av. You see it?
Yes.
The
This
test,
is the 9th of Av.
the tough,
Nobody could figure it out. Only Mishrat and Midrash Pele.
So every single thing in the Torah,
Oh my gosh, I know.
it's amazing how we
Even a
can
little word like
look at it.
S.
Okay, I think I'm going to stop here and start making some phone calls for Minyan.
You have to, must.
Have a good Shabbos, everybody.
Did you